Okay, we were looking at the interaction of different stages of the project life cycle. Okay, so the planning process. So when you initiate the project, okay, what is part of initiation? Initiation means what? What do you do at the first stage? This one. Huh?
Define the goals.
Define the goals, right? So your planning will be according to what you want to achieve, right? You should keep it in your mind. The planning should be according to what you want to achieve. You want to achieve A? Everybody is thinking, should I? Huh? Like if you say yes, I will give it to you. No? But anyways, the point was, if you are targeting something, your planning should be according to that. Okay. Now your execution will be or should be as per your plan. This is why we are doing the planning, right? And what is this controlling, why is this controlling link with the planning? Okay, this we understand, right? You execute, you control, you monitor, you check. Okay, so this is quite easy. Okay, now what is this link? What is this doing here? What is the link of control with planning? I am checking what I have done, right? I am checking what I have done. So the horizontal one is quite easy. What about this one? What is the link of controlling? Controlling means you are monitoring. Okay, you are monitoring, checking. Okay, so I am doing it at the execution stage. So what is the link of this one with the planning? Yes.
Monitoring changes to the plan.
Monitoring could change to the plan. Yes, it can happen. Yes. So I did something and it did not work well. So I need to change the plan. Very good. Okay. Anything else?
Monitoring the link between the execution and the plan.
Monitoring the link between the execution and the planning. Yes. What you are trying to control or what you are trying to check, is this according to this, right? So you must know both. You must know both. So yeah, I know the slab has been casted. Okay, the slab has been casted, and this is the dimension. This is what they have done. Okay, it looks plain. The strength is good. The height is proper. Yes, but then you look at the plan. Maybe everything is good according to what you are seeing, but according to the plan, it's supposed to be something else. Okay, so maybe for a classroom the slab was good. Okay, but that is supposed to be for a auditorium. Okay, so you need to go back and check the plan. In simple words, plan gives you the guideline what to check. Okay, the planning gives you the guideline what to check. Okay, so in the planning stage you define, I will check the height, I will check the strength, I will check the dimensions and so on. Clear? Okay. And why is this two-way? Execution and control, why are they two? Like going both ways?
We do something and check it.
Yes. Say again. We do something and check it. Yes. So one way, and the other way is what? We set it for the planning, right? We check it and then
We monitor the changes. We monitor the changes.
monitor the changes. That's one way, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Or monitor the changes. Yes. So maybe you did something. Okay. You checked it. It's not according to the plan. Okay. Now you will change it, right? Okay. So you will change it. So this will go back here. Okay. You change because of the controlling process, right? You change because you found something new. Okay. So this is why it goes going the other way. So maybe you are doing excavation, let's say. Okay, the excavation was supposed to take 5 days. It took 7 days. You were monitoring it. Then you found, okay, the extra 2 days are because of this problem. Okay, so to get rid of this problem, you said, okay, next time or for the remaining part of the excavation, we will use this method. So it will go back to the execution now. Okay, so your control is governed by, or it goes back to planning as well as execution. There are some things which need you to plan again, and there are some things which you can directly execute. Got it? Okay. So this is the timeline of the project, and this is the amount of effort you are putting in. Okay, the amount of effort you are putting into the into the project. So at the initiation stage, the effort is very low. Okay, because you are not executing anything. Okay, and at this stage, who is doing the initiation? Who is involved? The client, mainly. Okay, he may consult some experts or something. Okay, but mainly the client himself. The level of people, the amount of people involved, the level of effort is very low because there are not many people involved and you are not going for detailed design as well. Then you go for the planning stage. Okay, so there are other people involved, mainly who? Consultant. Okay, so they will do the detailed design, they may do feasibility, they may see multiple options. Okay, so the level of activity increases. Okay, but all of it is happening where? Before the execution. So it's basically office work. Okay, so it's basically office work. Okay, so again the level of activity is still low. Okay, the highest level of activity is where? At the execution stage. Because this is where you go into the field. Okay, so this is where everybody is involved. You cannot say the client is not involved here or the consultant is not involved here. Everybody is involved. Plus the contractor, plus the subcontractor. And those people are not involved themselves, they are putting in their resources as well, right? Okay, so the level of activity increases, and then you have the closing stage, the controlling stage continues like we mentioned earlier. Okay, but so you can see it starts somewhere near the start of the project and goes till the end. Okay, but the level of activity is very low. Okay, so this is, somebody raised this point that the controlling process is the longest one. Yeah, but at each stage you are not putting the same number of hours. Okay, so in terms of duration, yeah, it starts from point A, goes to point B. So distance between point A and point B is the longest one for controlling. But if you count the number of hours between point A and B, it's very low. Okay, and yeah, then you go to the closing stage where you just close down everything, the payments and so on and so forth, the documentation and these things. Another thing which you can see is the activities are they are overlapping. It's not one then the other then the other. Okay, it's not like this. Okay, even between the initiation and the planning, okay, or the execution, they are slightly overlapping. Okay, because you have to start something with the execution, the land, the cleaning of the land, the testing of the soil. Okay, until you do that, your planning and initiation cannot happen. Okay, we discussed the stages of land development earlier. Okay, so in those stages there was market evaluation and site evaluation and so on and so forth. Okay, so these things will also take some effort, and so that's why you see the overlapping here. Okay, any questions? Okay, I showed you this last time as well, like in the last topic. So these are the knowledge areas of project management. We have went through them and we have seen them earlier. Okay, so apart from this big list, there are additional knowledge areas for a construction manager. Okay, so if you look at this list, this is like the catalog of any project manager. Okay, he could be in pharmaceutical industry, he could be in shipping, he could be at the airport, he could be in the hospital business. Okay, so this is what they normally do. Okay, this is what they have to do. But there are some additional features which construction manager has to deal with, and these are the the four: the safety management, environmental management, financial management, and claims management. Okay. So some of them are interlinked with the previous ones. For example, which one? So for example, financial management can be linked with, for example, procurement management, okay? Because your finance, your budget depends upon what you are buying, okay? What you are, the services you are taking, the material you are buying, and for example, project cost management, okay? So this is also linked with the financial management. So some of them can be interlinked, but they have more focus in the construction management business. Okay, any questions, problems? Okay. Okay, now we will go through the topic of construction project contracts. Okay, so first of all, what is a contract? It's a legal document, it's a legal binding which is done between parties to exchange something. Okay, a contract is a legal document or a legal binding which is done between different parties to exchange something. Okay, so one is giving money, the other one is giving service. Okay, somebody may be giving material, somebody may be giving equipment. Okay, either selling it or renting it out. Okay, so any document which binds them together. Okay, any document which states that you will give this and I will give this. This is called as a contract. Okay, and it should be a legal contract. So in terms of construction, then it is the contract between the, or it's a document or binding between the employer and the contractor. The normal one is it's a legal binding between the employer client. Okay, employer or the client and the contractor. So contractor is in general terms now. Okay, so a consultant is also a sort of a contractor. If you look at the definition of the contract. Okay, so the consultant, we are not talking about the contractor who will go in the field and do the construction. We are talking about the contractor who is signing the contract. Got it? Okay. And the employer who is employing the contractor. Okay, so these two are not the general definition of employer and contractor. He is not like the owner of something. Okay, employer because he is employing, he is hiring. Okay, employer is someone who hires. So employer who is hiring someone and contractor who is providing the services or something. Okay, so in terms of contract, these two are terms which we are using in the contract. Okay, so my point was that in terms of the contract document, even a consultant is a contractor because he is signing the contract. Got it? And the employer could be a government organization. It could be a single person. Okay, it could be a private organization. Okay, anybody who is taking or hiring the other person. Okay, so what is the purpose of the contract? So that we have a legal relationship between the two entities. Okay, a legal and solid relationship between the two entities, and in that document we mainly focus on two things: the responsibilities and the risks. Okay, in the contract we are focusing on two things: the responsibilities and the risks. Okay, what is left now? What is not part of the contract? Like, let's say you are the contractor, you will construct a villa, and we are doing the contract, we are doing the agreement. Okay, and the contract document is saying, okay, these are your responsibilities, you will do this. Okay, and I will give you this much payment on this day after doing this. Okay, so there's something missing here, which is part of the construction process, which is what? time is normally involved.
Mistakes.
Mistakes.
Error and mistakes.
Mistakes. Usually it is mentioned. This is part of the risks. Yes.
Additional costs that
Uh-huh.
are not foreseen.
Say again.
Costs that are not foreseen, not expected.
Again, risks. I'm talking about like there's something which is totally missing here, which is part of the construction project. Sorry, yes. Yes, drawings and specifications are not made part of the contract. The parties already agree that this is the work for which we are agreeing. So the contract document itself does not have the full set of drawings and BOQ, and they have just the general or the main points. The total cost, for example, the total time. Okay, so you will not define each activity and its cost and its time, and this is the drawing, and this much should be the concrete strength, and you have to do like 12 columns of this much height. This is not part of the contract. Okay, you mention the responsibilities. This person will do this according to this. Okay, that thing is between the two parties. Okay, and so on and so forth. And if something, if contractor makes a mistake, something unforeseen happens, there is a change in the market, whatever. Okay, or somebody wants to suggest a change. It's not necessary, but there's a new technology in the market, some new material in the market. Okay, so they can, what they should do in that case is also part of the contract. Okay, any change which you want to make or you have to make. Okay, so this is the tender code of Bahrain, which governs how these contracts should be done between the two parties in the field of construction. And obviously they are more focused on public contracts. Like public contracts means what? Everybody does it, right? Public. It's only mainly for the government. Yes, we want to adopt, no problem. Okay, as far as the private employers and contractors are concerned, okay, they are more open, they are more flexible. Okay. Okay, these are the 4 main types of contracts. Okay, you may find other types as well. Okay, other more advanced types, but they are applied to specific types of projects then. Okay, so there are other types as well, but they are very special, very specific. Okay, so these are the types which are applicable to most of the projects, most of the construction projects, or most common types of construction projects. Okay, so the first one is lump sum cost, which means total sum. Lump sum means a total sum. Okay, lump means what? Total. And sum means what? Total. It's total. Yes. Lump is something which is, like in a packet or bunch. Okay. Okay, like something like this. Okay. The whole bunch. Okay. So the whole cost, the whole project will cost you this much. Okay, so total from sum, and lump means each item is not defined specifically. Okay, the total cost is given obviously based upon the type of project you have. Okay, so the contractor will give the total amount to the employer, to the client, okay, for the whole project. Okay, and it's a single cost. Okay, it's a single cost, and that cost is supposed to cover everything. Okay, including labor, material, equipment, overheads. Okay, overheads means what? Which goes over the head, right? The client throws something at you, goes over your head, that is overhead, right? Now I'm just imagining I will get these types of answers in the exam. Yeah. Overhead means what?
Not expected.
Not expected, no. Overhead is a definite part of the project. Yes. Okay, think about something which is part of the expense of the project, but it's not written here. What? What is
Delay.
delay? Okay. Anything else? There's something which like you are expecting. Something you know will happen. Something you are planning for. We don't plan for delay, right? Yes. Tasks. Tasks.
No, rest.
What do you mean?
Something that's,
No. This is something definite. You plan. You can calculate. Okay. It's not something by chance, or it's not something which you can avoid, or which you are trying to avoid. Delay we are trying to avoid, right? Risk we try to avoid, right? Overhead is not something which you try to avoid. You cannot avoid.
extra cost.
Huh?
Extra cost.
About what? Okay, so you set up, so for example, material. Okay, so you take the cost of material, right? Okay, for example, cement per bag X BDs. Okay, am I missing something here?
That's
Huh?
that's
That?
yes. The future,
Yes.
the increase in the VAT.
Yes.
What time
Arbab, yes,
the
huh?
cost will change?
The cost will change, no. How the material will get to the site? Huh? Not that labor, but yes, it could be included. Okay, but for example, you are asking for the material price. Okay, with the material price, the transportation is the overhead, right? You have to transport the material to the site. Okay, you are charging for equipment. Okay, but who will operate the equipment? There will be an operator, right? And the equipment to work, it will take some fuel or something, right? Okay, if it's electrical, then you have to set up the lines or you have to charge it. If it is running on fuel, then you have to get the fuel and gas and whatever. Okay, so the equipment itself is the main product, and these other items are the overheads. Okay, yes.
But who operates the equipment? Is it not under labor?
Hmm?
It is not under labor?
Yeah.
Then what would be the difference between labor?
Labor, when you say labor, you mean like the thing which is done manually. The thing which is done manually, yes. So when they give the equipment charge, okay, they are including that person who is coming with the equipment and so on and so forth. So they are putting it with the equipment. The labor is, okay, I need like 10 people on the site, and that operator is usually not included in those. Okay, because like a default, if I'm asking for the equipment, I will have an operator. So that goes with the equipment normally. Okay, unless you have your own. Okay, and you can use any one of them. Okay, then it's part of like general labor. But labor basically means that I need 10 people on the site, and those 10 people, okay, I will ask them, okay, do excavation here, they'll do excavation here. I'll ask them, okay, you transfer the material, the bags from here to here, they will do it. So they are general, okay, normally. But anyways, but the point is to give you the idea that what you are doing, your main task needs some support items, okay, and those support items are part of overhead. Okay, so you are doing something on the site, okay, but you need to get people on the site, you need to provide them with drawings, okay, you need to there should be a site office there, for example. Okay, so all these things are under support items. Okay, so they are basically overheads. Overhead is basically the support items, not the risk, not the delay. The support items cannot be ignored, right? You cannot ignore them. Okay, you will do something to get the electricity, you may get water in the tankers and so on and so forth. So these are all support items which you need to get the work done on the site. Okay, another type of overhead is so I am the contractor. Okay, I have an office. I have an office. So can I run my company without the office? Like not the side office, my own office. Okay, I need that office as well. So when I get some project, I'll put my office expenses as part of the project, right? Because I need both. Okay, I need project to run my work and I need my office to hold my company, right? Okay, so whatever expenses you are doing with the project, with the office, okay, the electricity for the office, the rent for the office, the cleaning for the office, the computers in the office, okay, they are all part of the same company. So some part of this cost will go to the project as well. I'll put in the project because I have to recover from the project, right? This is my only source of income. Okay, so this is also part of overheads. Okay, so going back to the earlier definition, anything which is supporting the project. Okay, it's not directly used, but it is supporting the activities of the project. So you include all of them in one single amount, and that is given to the client. Okay, but that amount obviously is very risky that you keep it open. You keep the project open. Okay, so now the scope of the project has to be very, very defined. Okay, because I am giving you one single amount. Okay, so if anything goes wrong, there will be a problem. Okay, I have to recalculate everything. So the scope of work must be defined, and the contractor is not obligated to do anything extra. Okay, because he gave you one single amount. Okay, so the advantage is that it becomes very simple. You will give me this whole product in the end, and I will give you this much amount in the end. Okay, so it becomes very simple, but it only works when you have a clear scope of work. Everything is well defined. What type of columns I want, what type of beams I want, what type of framework I want, formwork I want, and so on. Okay, so the exchange is the contractor agrees to the scope of work, and the client agrees to the price. Okay, yeah. Some part of the contract can be given forward to subcontractors. Okay, and that can be done on lump sum basis as well. Okay, or maybe the contractor himself is working on some other type of contract, but he is hiring someone on lump sum basis. This can also happen. Okay, so in that case, the subcontractor will agree to a small specific part of the project. I will complete this much part of the project for this much cost. The remaining part could be lump sum, or it could be some other type of contract. Okay, it can work in combination as well. Okay, the problem is that we agreed to a total amount, but that doesn't mean that it will be one-time payment. Okay, because it will be very problematic for the contractor. Okay, if you maybe some of you have done the training with the contractors, so they are basically rolling the money. Okay, they get it from here, and yeah, sometimes they do that. Okay, sometimes they are holding other suppliers. Then when I get the money, I will pay you. Okay, so doing one-time payment at the end of the project will be very difficult for them. They cannot manage it. Okay, they will be broke. The project will not complete for sure. Okay, so the contract, this type of contract sets up progress payments. Okay, when you complete this much amount of the work, I will give you 20%, 30%, and normally there is an advance amount as well. So you start the work, we call it the startup cost, startup amount or something like this. Okay, so it can be given at regular intervals. So the total project is 6 months. I'll give you 15-20% after every 2 months. Okay, or it can be done according to the percentage of work done. Okay, in both cases, the contractor will provide some evidence that I have completed this much work. Okay, yeah, there is some payment which is also called as retainage money. Okay, or I forgot, there's some other term which they use in Pakistan, but retainage means you are warranty. Okay, it's like a warranty. So when the whole project is complete, I will go and I will check everything, and I will not give you this final amount until I am completely satisfied. Okay, so maybe you are saying that I have done the 100% of the work, everything is completed, okay, but I will give you everything except this much amount. Okay, it could be 5%, 10%, whatever you agree, and this will be done after the client is completely satisfied, he has checked everything. Okay. Yeah. There's something which we call as change order. What is the change order? When you need a change in the project, either from the contractor side or the client side. Yeah. Anything which is related to the, which is not part of the original scope of work. Okay. So to make this thing happen, then we initiate something which we call as change orders. Okay. So change orders are very common in construction projects because there are so many factors affecting it. Okay. You are doing it in the open field, so anything can happen. So change orders are very common. So that means that any type of project can have some changes, right? So to work with that, contractors usually keep a certain percentage within the amount, within the lump sum cost, okay, for these type of change orders. Okay, so if it is between this much, I can bear it. Clear? Okay, so change orders are initiated when you want to change something in the scope of work. It can be from any side. It can be from any side. The client may say that I don't want this, I want this. I want this one extra, so from the client side, or it can be from the contractor side. Okay, that something happened in the market, something happened with my company. The field conditions are not as per the plan. Okay, so I cannot do this much. Okay, so it can be from any side. So at the time of contract, obviously they don't know about the change order. Okay, so they can keep a small percentage of the total amount for these types of unforeseen things. So what are the advantages for this type of contract? The owner can plan from the start very easily. For the finances, for the budget, he can plan from the start very easily because he knows the total amount required and he knows till what time. Okay, so the planning becomes very easily. The contractor can get a lot of profit out of it. Why? Because why the contractor can get a lot of profit from it. Total, so what? Total for the scope of work, right?
You can cut costs.
Huh?
You can cut costs later.
He can cut costs, yes.
You can sacrifice
Then why would I agree? He can go for cheaper alternatives, yes. Yes? Yes. Okay, the client can quote higher costs as well. Sorry, the contractor can quote higher costs because he is taking most of the risks. Okay, that to do this much work, I'll take this much. Okay, so until there is a major change in the scope of work or there is some very big risk which happened, okay, the client will not agree to any changes. So the contractor is saying, any small risks, I will bear it. It is part of my cost. Okay, so because he is taking more risk, so he can quote higher values as well. Okay. So what are the disadvantages again for both parties? Okay, the one thing you read from it or you just said it? No, you don't read, right? Obviously. So yes, the contractor may try to cut costs. Okay, by later on during the project. Okay, he may use cheap alternatives, cheap materials. Okay, and so on and so forth. So and there is a possibility of additional cost because of change orders. Okay, so in case of change orders, then the contractor may ask for higher price because he already quoted the higher price, right? Okay, he already quoted you maybe 20% extra for the 2 floors. So if you are going for the 3rd floor, then he will increase the cost accordingly, the same ratio, right? So this can go against the client or the owner. For the contractor, he is obviously the risk factor we already talked about. Okay, if there is any problem with the estimation part, he has to bear the cost. Okay, he is taking that risk, and and that risk will come from his profit margin. Okay, so if there was any problem with the estimation, any problem with the plan or something, any extra cost is going from his profit margin. Okay, so the profit margin itself is not fixed. For the contractor, the profit margin is not fixed. Even when he is quoting the price, it's not fixed because he will still do the project. So the actual profit margin will only be known once the project is finished. During the project, it can go both ways. Okay, but definitely if there's a problem with the estimation, it will hurt the contractor. And yes, once he agrees to the scope of work, the chances of him initiating the change order becomes very less, because then it's very obvious for the client, right? You already agreed to this amount, now you want to change the scope of work. No, I don't want this. Okay, the client can say, I don't want this. You do the same thing which I told you, I'll give you the same money. Got it? Yeah? Okay, then we have unit price contract, the rate basically. The contracts which are made on the basis of rates. So in unit price contract, the agreement is based on the units of work. So the contractor gives the rate for different types of work on per unit basis. Okay, so the contractor will give the price, not the total price. He will give the rate of the work. Okay, so per cubic meters of concrete, I'll charge you this much. Okay, or per cubic meter of excavation, I will charge you this much. Okay, per square feet of formwork, I will charge you this much. Clear? Okay, so this is the unit price. So how do we calculate the unit price? Okay, I already gave the examples. Yeah, so in the end, when the contract is being implemented, what you do, you go to the site. Okay, you already agreed on the unit price, you go to the site, you do the measurements. Okay, so if the work required 50 cubic meters of excavation, you will get the money for 50 cubic meters. Okay, if the work required 40 cubic meters of excavation or 100 cubic meters of excavation, okay, then he will get the money for that much. So now you're getting it. The number of units will not change, will not cause any change orders. Okay, I can keep the same contractor, I don't have to get into any hustle with him because I want to increase something or decrease something. Okay, he gave me the rate. Now I'm saying, okay, I don't want this much area to be excavated, or I don't want this much concreting to be done. I want less, or I want more. Okay, and the contractor will get the money according to the rate. Clear? Okay. In this case, you are measuring at every stage to see how much the contractor should get. Yeah, so yeah, this is what I was coming to. So how do we calculate the unit price? How does the contractor calculate the unit price for the contract? So obviously, first of all, he has to take into account the material. Okay, he has to take into account the labor. Okay, he has to take into account the markup. Okay, markup means what? The profit. Okay, markup means the profit, and here he can add the overheads as well. Okay, so everything which we said for the lump sum contract, the total price, everything which he was adding in the total price, he is still added. Okay, but now he will distribute it in each work separately. Okay, so he may say, okay, I will just take 2% overheads for excavation. Okay, but for concreting, because I will be hiring the mixer and everything. Okay, so I will add more profit on that activity. Okay, so this can be done as well. So these types of contracts are used where the things have more margin of change. Okay, so when you are hiring the contractor, you have still not finalized the duration, the scope, or the requirements of the project. At the time of signing the contract, the full plan is not ready, the complete design is not ready. Okay, or the client is still waiting for example, in government projects, you are still waiting for the approvals. Okay, so you can initiate the contract, you can hire the contractor, you can initiate the process, and you can still wait for the final plan and the approvals and so on and so forth. Okay, the advantages for the owners and contractors. For the owner, the pricing is very straightforward. You are just if I need this much amount of work, I need this much cost. Okay, and the contractor can reduce, obviously. Then for the contractor there is less risk of getting in dispute with the client. Okay, if the work is more, he will be charged more. If the work is less, he will be charged less. Okay, so he doesn't have to fight with the client every time. I did this much or that much, and this happened or this happened. Okay, yeah, under this type of contract, they are also not responsible for any cost overrun. Okay, any extra cost, they are not responsible for it. Okay, something happened, he will be charged or he will be given according to the unit price. Okay, so but in the lump sum cost, obviously any cost overrun, I told you, is taken by the client. If it is the same scope of work, then it is taken by the contractor. Sorry. So it is more flexible in changing the cost even during the project. Okay, even during the project, I want to make some changes, the contractor has no problem with that. Okay, billing, invoicing means billing. Okay, so when I'm billing the client, it becomes very easy. I can show the units of work I have done, and I can bill for the same amount. It is easy for the client as well. Okay, why are you asking for this much money? Because I have done this many units of work. Okay, now in the construction project, so for example, if you say I will build ground plus 1 story villa. Okay, so it has different stages, right? Excavation, then substructure, then the superstructure for the ground floor, superstructure for the first floor, and then you have the walls, and then you have the finishing and so on. Okay, so if I divide this work into equal parts, will all of them need same amount of money, same amount of effort, same amount of labor? No, right? Okay, so in this type of contract, I can get the money for the actual work I have done. The client will, because in lump sum contract, what was happening? The full project is 6 months. After 2 months, I will give you 20%. But in the first 2 months, maybe you worked more. Okay, so you spend more, you are getting less. Get the point? So there could be some imbalance here. In this case, you are directly getting paid for the amount of work you have done. Okay, so if excavation required more effort, you must have given higher unit price for it. Okay, if paint requires less effort, the unit price would be less. So the work which requires more effort has higher unit price, and you get the money when that work is done. Okay, it's not calculated from the whole project. It's case by case basis, work by work basis. What my point? Okay, so this is good for the contractor. Okay, for the client, it gives him more margin to control the cost. Okay, he can see how much work is being done, how much cost the contractor has given to the project, and how much should I pay him. So it gives him more greater cost control. Okay, and he can check the qualities and so on and so forth. Obviously, quantity is part of it. For the contractor, he can manage the resources in a better way. Okay, so because he has already given the unit price, now he can try to, once the contract is done, once the unit rates are approved, okay, now he can look for how he can do it more efficiently. And usually when the work is done repeatedly, efficiency increases or decreases? Huh? Decreases? Increases? Yes. So if you take this course like 3, 4, 5 times, we'll get better, right? See you all next time. Inshallah? No? Okay. But the general trend is with more work, the more repetition, the efficiency will increase. Okay. But what are you doing in the unit price? You are giving the same. Okay. So actually your cost is decreasing. Okay, could be decreasing, or your efficiency increasing. Okay, so maybe you will spend less time. Maybe it's the same amount of labor and equipment, but because you are doing it repetitively, okay, so the excavation on the first day is not the same as the excavation on the third day. Maybe you will do more. Okay, so in the end you may save some cost here. You may reduce wastage because you already know what wastes your time and resources, and you can get rid of it. Okay. So in this case, the client can easily compare the cost for each item. Okay, this item was this much, it cost me actually this much, and so on and so forth. So the cost comparison becomes easy. Improved cash flow. Cash flow was the thing I was talking about. Okay, cash flow is like you are spending and then you are getting, right? Okay, you are spending first. Normally, the contractor is spending from his pocket more than what he is getting. So in the lump sum contract, there is a bigger difference between them. Okay, but in this type of contract, because he is getting on activity basis, so difference decreases. Okay, and some contractors become smart as well, or like they are smart, whatever. So what they do, they know they need more money at the start, right? They need more money at the start. Okay, so the start items have more margin in them. Okay, and the middle and the end items, then they reduce the margin. Okay, so for the client, the overall cost may still look reasonable. Okay, but he is improving his cash flow. Okay, so this can be this is also being done. Okay, because the contractor is being paid on the basis of number of units. So if you finish this much amount of concreting, you will get this much amount of money. So what he will do as a contractor, what he will do, you will try to finish it as soon as possible. Okay, so you can bill the client and get the money. So it goes in the favor of the client as well. Okay, and for the contractor, as we already mentioned, then he can try to see how the work can be done more efficiently and how you can increase the profit margin in these things. Okay, for the owner, the problem is he does not know the final cost until the work is totally completed. In the lump sum, he had the final cost. Even if it increases slightly, he has a rough idea. Here in this case, no. Okay, like it can change. Okay, it's not like if the costs change in the lump sum thing. If the cost changes or the contractor does something with the cost, then you get into an argument, right? So you are not expecting it. Here, it can happen very easily. Okay, so you do not know the final cost. If you did not do the pricing very well. Okay, in some cases what happens, one item can take the profit of the entire project. Okay, so I don't know about here, but in Pakistan there was a couple of times where the steel prices increased very high. Okay, maybe 20-30% increase. Okay, and steel, you know, steel is used a lot. So that one item took the entire profit out. Okay, so now you cannot, okay, I can go for this item, I can ask for this item, what about the other items? Okay, so any problem with the estimation, even for one item, can ruin your entire profit. Okay, you may go for potentially higher costs in this case because the contractor will try to do what? I'm getting paid on per unit basis. I'll try to do what?
Increase the amount of work.
Yeah, if I can somehow increase the amount of work or show the client that I did more work. Okay, so there's a chance of eventually ending up with higher cost in the end. Okay, in the unit price, you have to keep more record of your work because the client would say, okay, you are asking for the price for excavation. So show me your record, how much excavation you did. You have to keep the record. You have to keep the record of the concrete strength tests and so on and so forth. Okay, because you are not getting paid for the project. You are getting paid for each item. So you have to keep the record of each item separately. And each item in construction does not only mean, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I did 5 columns. It's not like this. Okay, these columns are made up of concrete and it had steel. So you may have to do a strength test. You may have to do surveys to prove that the dimension is this much. Okay, and so on and so forth. Okay, so the administrative burden on the contractor will increase. Okay, here in the unit price, it is normally used where the things are repetitive. You are doing the same thing again and again. Okay, so in many cases this will not work. For example, for a small projects, this will not work. Okay, because small projects you want to just have a total cost. Okay, in big projects, then you can go for this type of contracts. Okay, yeah, the pricing is fixed. Okay, the unit rate in this case is fixed. Okay, so maybe the number of units are same, but something happened in the market. Like I give the example of steel. So the same unit of work is not costing me the same amount now. Okay, so there is a type of change which is in the scope of work. So the type of change which is in the scope of work is covered here, no problem. Okay, if I increase the scope of work or decrease it, I'll get the price with the same unit rate. But what if not the amount is changing, but the rate is changing? Okay, the concrete prices went up or the steel prices went up, the cement is shortage, there's a shortage of cement or something. Okay, so it's easier for the client to increase or decrease the amount of work than it is for you to increase or decrease the unit rate of the work, right? But this is the whole basis of the contract. If you are going to increase or decrease the rate, then what is the purpose of doing this? Okay, so these types of contracts are done where you feel that, or where the client wants that, okay, the scope can change but the rate should not change. And the lump sum is the other way around. Okay, the scope cannot change. Okay, so how can we deal with the problems which we have just listed down? Okay, so the first thing is you do regular cost trackings, okay, to know what is your actual cost per unit. Okay, the cost you have quoted, you quoted before the project, right? But in the actual project it can go up and down. Okay, so you do regular cost tracking. You try to identify any cost overruns earlier. Okay, something which you assumed will cost less, but now it is costing more. Okay, so you don't wait till it finishes. You're getting my point? Okay, you don't wait till the end. You do regular cost tracking, so you know I'm talking about the contractor. The client will not do it. The client will not do it. The client will do it when the contractor bills for it. Okay, so this is the part of the contractor now. He has to do regular cost tracking and he has to detect if there are any cost overruns. And there are cost overruns, then he should do what? Something is costing him more than what he expected. Then he should do what? Increase the rate?
Cannot understand.
You cannot increase. She will not allow it.
Increase
Yes.
the amount of food.
Increase the amount of, very good.
He can play with the scope.
You can play with the scope. Yes.
Decrease the quality.
Decrease
Decrease the
the quality. Very good. Very like, yes.
Lowering his profits.
Lowering his profit, yes. Okay. Huh? He can. All of you will make very good contractors. I'm very happy. You don't have to go to Pakistan to come up with these ideas, right? Okay, so point is, he can see where is the overrun like this. Come on, there's something you can do honestly, right? Or reduce quality, run away with the money, increase the work. He will see where is the cost overrun. Okay, he may try to improve his efficiency. Okay, he may try to improve his efficiency. Okay, maybe he is getting a material from some different supplier. Maybe he changes his supplier, changes his method. Okay,
But it's cheaper.
cheaper.
Yes. Too cheaper.
Yeah, it can happen. But anyways, but all these things happen. Okay, so the point was regular cost tracking. Don't wait till the end to come up or to know that, oh, I spent so much on it. Okay, do it during the work so you can control it. So after you did the first day of excavation, now you know that it is supposed to cost me this much, but it has actually costed me this much. Okay, so you are prepared for the next day now. Get my point? Okay, so this is what we mean by cost tracking. Set up document sharing system. So you share with the client as well. He doesn't want it. He doesn't need it. Okay, but you keep a clean and clear channel of communication. Okay, and you keep a record of all the documents so that when you claim for something or when you are asking the client for to do something, he already knows where you are coming. Okay, it's not a shock to him or her. Okay, and it will minimize obviously later on any disputes or any conflicts. Okay, include a clause for price adjustments. Okay, and normally they do that. They have a percentage. Okay, if the percentage of materials increases by more than this much, 2%, 3%, like within 2-3%, you have plus or minus, contractor will bear it. No other way. Okay, but if it is more than this much, then it can be renegotiated. Okay, the unit price can be renegotiated mainly on the basis of current market conditions. Okay, you have to set up how this change will happen. Okay, see, we talked about change orders, right? We talked about change orders, and we talked about that the contract should have risks. It should have listed the responsibilities and should also list down the risks or who will bear the risk. So the very important part here is, which is mentioned here as well, that in the terms and conditions, you mention when the change will happen, how will we deal with it? Okay, who will submit what to who? Okay, it's not like contractor calls you, oh, I want to increase the unit price by 3 BD per unit. No. Okay, no, there's a process. Okay, he may give you some form with some evidence. So you say, okay, the evidence should be this much, and this will be evaluated by this guy, the client, or my manager, or whoever. Okay, so the whole procedure should be written. So this is what they are saying here. Just putting the clause is not enough. That you say that, okay, if the price increases by 2%, we will renegotiate the unit price. How? I'll send you a WhatsApp message. Hey, increase the price by 2 BD. Huh? And you will say no. And if you have a client like me, you will say block that guy. Huh? Yeah? You saw the cause, right? No, he's my cousin. Okay. You should explicitly mention the timing and method for making the adjustments, when you will do it and how you will do it. Okay, then we are moving on to example. We will see it later on. It will be better if you had a look at it before coming to the class.